I was really late coming up with my video idea this week. I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about, but sometimes good news just falls right in your lap. So of course, we're going to be talking about the new M2 xDrive today, which this guy actually mentioned it back in 2024. And then in 2027, we're going to see the M2 xDrive come out. Look at that hunk of beef. But yeah, so since then, of course, we've gotten more information and details. We even got the leak that BMW had on their website by mistake, which was pretty crazy to see. But now we've got all the details, an official announcement from BMW with all the specifications. So we no longer need to speculate how this is all going to work out. Although the big question is, it's kind of like 2024, Kevin. It is heavy. So is the xDrive going to make it worth it? Let's talk about the details and see. So if you read through the press release, you'll notice that they call it the M2 with xDrive over and over again. I think they say that entire phrase probably 45 times in the article, which I guess is them reiterating that this is not an M2 comp. And that's what a lot of people were hoping for. We get an M2 comp xDrive with the extra power and all of that stuff, but that is not the case here. If you look at the bag, you can see the badge doesn't say competition. It actually doesn't even say xDrive on the car anywhere that I can see. So this will basically be one of those if you know kind of things. But that being said, it does get the same M xDrive that is set up in other M cars. It was originally released in the M5, then it made it down to the M3 and M4, and now it's on the M2. So this is the same rear wheel biased setup that we're familiar with. That means when the car is driving around normally, it's going to be sending 100% of the power to the rear wheels, and it only starts pushing power to the front wheels when it's needed for traction. It also has the adjustable mode, so you can keep it in the regular all-wheel drive setup, or you can put it in four-wheel drive sport, or you can completely disable the front wheels and only send it to the rear wheels. Just keep in mind that only works with DSC completely disabled. So you won't have any stability control or traction control in that scenario, but if you only want it in rear wheel drive, you probably want it for a specific reason anyway. Also, again, this is not an M2 comp, so that means it's going to come with the same 473 horsepower and 443 foot-pounds of torque that we see on the base M2. So there's no extra power coming. It's not going to have, any extra boost or anything like that. But it will come with the M Ignite technology, which if you're not familiar with that, I highly recommend checking out the previous video I made discussing what this is going to be like. I'll have it linked down in the video description. But this is BMW's implementation of pre-chamber combustion so that it improves the efficiency of the engine to support meeting the new EU7 emission standard. So it has a lot of benefits. It'll allow you to drive on track for longer because it won't burn as much fuel while you're driving, and some other things that they say from an efficiency standpoint. But really, this is going to be brand new tech. So if you were worried about that, you won't be able to get the M2 xDrive without it. Like all the other xDrive cars, it's also automatic only, so you will not be able to pair this with a manual. If you couldn't tell by the torque figure, yes, that again goes over what BMW rates the manual transmissions for. So if it has over 400 foot-pounds of torque, just assume it's not going to be available with a manual, and this is no different. And then let's talk about the weight. So the good news is it's less than 4,000 pounds. The bad news is it's barely less than 4,000 pounds. They list the curb weight at 3,988 pounds, which is actually 3 pounds lighter than an M4 comp. So not bad, but it's still crazy to me that the M2 is so heavy and so close in weight to the larger M3 and M4. It still has the smaller wheelbase. All of the dimensions should help it have much better driving characteristics and make it much more fun to drive for people that like a car that can rotate, but it's still incredibly heavy, and this xDrive system adds over 120 pounds to the curb weight from the base model. But the big question is, will that be worth it? And the good news is it is definitely faster 0 to 60. It actually took off 0.3 of a second. So now it's going 3.6 seconds 0 to 60, or it's rated for 3.7 seconds for 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. So it is faster than it used to be. No matter what metric you put it under, the extra grip is going to help it launch harder so that you can get faster times. So if you're wondering when you're going to get this, the good news is it's actually coming pretty soon. BMW isn't announcing cars a year in advance anymore. This is going to be going into production in August at the plant in Mexico. So we should be able to see this in the next couple months. But keep in mind, they're still slating the end of production for the M2 in 2029. So this will only be around for, around 3 years. So if you want one, even though it's not a limited run or like limited edition vehicle, you won't have a whole lot of time to get it because this very well could be the last M2 that we're going to see from BMW. But something interesting they did highlight is this was the highest selling M car in 2025, which I would have never guessed, but probably due to the price, since so many of the other M cars are easily over $100,000, it's much easier for people to be able to afford an M2 instead. So I think the market is definitely talking, and fingers crossed, maybe BMW will push for another generation of the M2 after this one runs its course. We also had some speculation that this might not be coming to the US. There were a lot of different conversations about it. Even when I was reading through the press release, I was a little concerned because they posted it on the global page as well as some other European markets, but they did not post it on the USA press page. And this is really different. Normally they put it on all of the different websites so that everybody can see it in their respective language and stuff like that. And for something like the M3 Handschalter, which is only coming to North America, they only posted that on the United States website and the Canada website. So it was weird that they omitted that with this press release. But if you read down at the bottom of the press release, you can see that they are specifying one of the most important sales regions includes the United States. So it's definitely going to be coming here. If you were concerned based on what you saw, hopefully this puts your mind at ease. So yeah, with all that in mind, the pricing is expected to be just over $73,000. It's listed with a start price of $73,600. That's $15,000 less than an M3 Comp xDrive and $18,000 less than an M4 Comp xDrive. So again, I feel like the market will definitely speak for it and say it's a lot easier to spend $73,000 than easily spend $100K plus on a Comp xDrive M3 or M4. But, we'll have to see. I also think a lot of people are kind of concerned about the M-Ignite technology. And if you don't want to get that, you might wait a year or two to see how the reliability and implementation is. I would probably do the same thing. I'd be nervous to get the first year production of any big revolutionary change to an engine. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see. Again, if we really support this vehicle and a lot of people buy it, it should motivate BMW to do more with it, because at the end of the day, the dollar is what's going to talk. So yeah, I think that sums up everything that BMW shared with us. Let me know if this is something you would be interested in. I know a lot of people have wanted this car for a while. We've even got, the guys over in the UK that did conversions to their rear wheel drive M2 just to make an xDrive version that BMW wouldn't provide for us at the time. Now that it's available right off the shelf, is it, a better proposition for you? Or are you like me and you'd probably still lean to get the rear wheel drive version? Curious to hear your thoughts, but otherwise that's it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.